Welcome to the Resilient Retail Game Plan, a podcast for anyone wanting to start, grow or scale a profitable creative product business with me, Catherine Erdley. The Resilient Retail Game Plan is a podcast dedicated to one thing, breaking down the concepts and tools that I've gathered from 20 years in the retail industry and showing you how you can use them in your business. This is the real nuts and bolts of running a successful product business, broken down in an easy, accessible way. This is not a podcast about learning how to make your business look good. It's the tools and techniques that will make you and your business feel good. Confidently plan, launch and manage your products, and feel in control of your sales numbers and cash flow to help you build a resilient retail business. Welcome to episode 18 of the Resilient Retail Game Plan. I'm so excited that you've tuned in. My name's Catherine Erdley and I'm your host, as well as the founder of the Resilient Retail Club. The Resilient Retail Club is my membership group for creative product businesses, and you can find out more at resilientretailclub.com. So on to today's episode, and what I wanted to do today was really go through some of the research that I've been reading and news articles, as well as conversations that I've been having with small product businesses all about Christmas spending. So Christmas shopping, this episode is going out the day before Black Friday. So we're really getting into the swing of the festive season and it's in full flow. But of course, this year is a year like no other. And I wanted to run through a few points about what is coming out about Christmas spending in 2020. And of course, relate that back to what that means for you and your business. So some of you may know I am a contributor to Forbes.com. I write about starting and scaling a product business, which is a really fascinating role that I really enjoy. And it means that I get to speak to lots of different people and also get access to lots of different research about the retail industry and what's actually happening. Now, again, I'm sure you've heard me say this before. If you're thinking to yourself, well, I just sell crafted goods or I've got my own website, I'm not part of the retail industry, then my belief is you absolutely are part of the retail industry. And it's really interesting when you go through the research and look at what's happening to understand the role that small businesses are playing this year for Christmas, which I'll get onto a little bit more later. So let's go straight in then. Let's dive straight in. I've got 5 key themes about what's happening for Christmas spending in 2020 and how they relate to your business. So the first thing, what do we know? Point 1, what's happening for Christmas 2020? Well, we know that people are shopping more online. So I've talked about this lots in previous episodes, and you've probably heard me say this before, but online shopping is at the highest levels it's ever been. Prior to lockdown, it was about 25% in the UK. It jumped up to around 33%, which went down once shops reopened in the summer, but is now looking like it's pushing ahead again at Christmas. So some of the research that I was given as part of my role with Forbes was a Capgemini survey into thousands of consumers and hundreds of retailers across the UK, the US, and various different countries in Europe. And what they found was that 49% of the consumers that they interviewed were expecting to shop more online. And 93% of the retailers that they were interviewing were expecting to have more online traffic and they were preparing accordingly. Now, it's not to say that people are not going to be shopping in shops. In fact, in the UK, there's lots and lots of evidence that people have been more supportive of their local shops all the way through the pandemic. And that's expected to continue once, fingers crossed, on the 2nd of December, the shops are able to reopen again. But what's really interesting, and it's definitely stacks up to what I've heard from lots of independent retailers, is that the customers that will be coming to the shops are going to be pre-prepared. So that means 32% of the ones surveyed in the Capgemini survey were saying that they would have done their research ahead of time. And a third of all people said that they would only visit a physical shop once they'd actually decided what they wanted to buy. So that goes to show that for everybody, your online digital presence is more important than ever. I can't really stress this enough. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. People will either be shopping online, and for the ones that want to shop in person, they want to do their research first. So they want to understand what's available, make their choices, and then go ahead and make the visit to the shop. Now, we did also see in the UK a bit of a pre-lockdown boom. There was a mini rush for some physical retailers before the lockdown happened. So there is definitely evidence that some people have done their Christmas shopping early, but I wouldn't say that everybody has. And actually, what I think is really fascinating is that at the moment we're in a bit of a waiting pattern. There's definitely some major disruption to the typical cycle of Christmas spending. So over the last few years, it used to be December was the biggest month, but with the advent of Black Friday and other discounting, Christmas spending has been creeping forward into November. And for the last few years, November has been the biggest Christmas sales month. However, this year, with the impact of lockdown, there's a lot of people in wait and see. So it'll be interesting to see how much of a big bang there is on Black Friday, because a lot of people are just not really sure if they need to be buying distance gifting for people they won't be able to see, or if in fact they will be able to see loved ones, in which case they might want to wait and purchase once the shops reopen. So that's point number one then. We are expecting to see more people shopping online. Not to say they won't be coming to the stores, but they will want to be pre-prepared before they get there. So point number two is that overall spending is down. So that means, according to the Capgemini research, that 1/3 or 35%, or more than 1/3, are planning on spending less in Black Friday, and 14% of people only are expecting to spend more during the Christmas period. Interestingly enough, within that, if you look at it broken down by age group, it's actually younger generations who've maybe saved money or are saying that they've saved money from the beginning of the pandemic in order to spend at Christmas. So even though overall people are looking to spend less, there is a difference in the age group. So maybe thinking about younger age groups in general, so the 18 to 34 age group, for example, they are the most likely to be spending more this Christmas. So you might be thinking, well, that's feeling really difficult. More people are going to be spending less. But actually, when you look at the numbers, it's not dramatic. It's not like everybody's saying they're going to spend less. There are certainly people out there who are saying they're going to spend more, and a lot of people are saying they're going to be spending the same as last year. The other thing that is going in favour of small businesses is that shopping small. So that's point number one, more online. Point number two, less overall. Point number three, though, more for small businesses. Again, I've been saying this before. The overall size of the pie, the spending pie, may be shrinking slightly, but the piece of the pie being given to small businesses is growing. And there's lots of evidence of this. So Google Trends, for example, which is a really fascinating website just to explore various different themes and have a look at how different searches are trending. So searches for shopping small were up 200% this year compared to last year. Enterprise Nation as well did a really interesting piece of research, and they are talking about in the UK, there being £272 million more spent with small businesses this year, which makes it £3.7 billion that they're expecting to be seeing spent with small businesses. So, in other words, what they're talking about is that people will be spending more, even though they're overall spending less. They are expecting to be spending more with small businesses. So the overall piece of that pie is getting bigger. Again, if you look at it by age, it's really interesting. So 18 to 34-year-olds are actively planning, 50% of them are actively planning on shopping more with small businesses this year, which overall will mean around a 10% increase in the overall spend with small businesses. And again, particularly focused in on that younger generation, who also are the generation who are more likely to be saying they're going to be spending more. So all in all, it's looking like, even though overall Christmas numbers may be disappointing for the retail industry as a whole, for small businesses, there's definitely evidence that 1 in 5 people are planning on spending with a small business, and the number of people year on year is growing who are actively looking to spend more with small businesses. So that's really, really key. So although it may feel, as I said, difficult or negative because of all the press about spending and the economic situation, people are looking to shop small, and it's being reflected in their intentions about Christmas spending. The other thing to think about, the other proof, if you like, that people are interested in shopping small is when you look at the performance of some of the platforms that small businesses sell on. So Shopify, for example, the website provider, which is the home to lots and lots of small businesses, they've had enormous growth. They have had an incredible year, and they've seen a huge boost in both the numbers of new accounts being opened, but also the volume of sales that are going through their platform. Etsy is another one. So up 128% in the third quarter, their sales year on year. They've had a phenomenal time. And there are also businesses like Not on the High Street, for example, that have also been having a really good time because people are looking to shop small and they're looking for those small independent businesses to get behind. Okay, so point number 4 then that I wanted to go through was just that some of the key drivers for Christmas purchasing. So we know that people are shopping differently this year, even though they may be shopping more with small businesses. The patterns that you're expecting to see year on year have really shifted. So compared to last year, what do we expect to see people buying? Or going back to Etsy, for example, they released their trend guide. It's a really fascinating read. I definitely recommend it. Even if you're not on Etsy, it's just really interesting to see some of the key points. So one of the things that they talked about was Christmas decorations, up 241% on the year. Searches for Christmas decorations. There's definitely a really big theme around the home. So that is something that is really important to consider when you're putting together your messaging for Christmas and when you're looking at the products that you're pushing. People are looking to create bright, festive homes because, frankly, that's the only place anyone gets to spend any time at the moment. So the garden is still playing a crucial role in purchasing, even in the winter time. So, for example, Etsy was seeing a 186% increase in searches for outdoor blankets, 197% increase in searches for fire pits. So the garden's still really important. The home's still really important. During the first lockdown, I talked about 3 main drivers of people's purchasing, and that was to protect, to connect, and to distract. So protect is about protecting yourself and your loved ones. So purchasing things to do with health and well-being. Connect, obviously making those connections with other people, either through technology or through gifting. And then distract, as it sounds, keeping people busy. And distract is another really big theme at Christmas. So for example, Etsy were talking about there being a 50% increase in searches for family games and huge increases on some of their searches for things like DIY Christmas wreaths and embroidery kits. So lots of evidence that people are still following those key themes. They are looking to protect themselves and their loved ones and also to create a cozy, lovely environment for them to spend their Christmas. They're looking to connect with people across the miles with distance gifting. That's another one that's shown really big search increase volumes. And also actually the term care packages is really interesting. This is a really interesting one. So people are searching a lot for care packages on Etsy. They were saying there's a 235% lift. So think about that with your messaging. Even if it's not distance gifting, can you use the phrase care packages? And people want distractions. So they want activities, they want home-based activities, they want things they can do, maybe even with loved ones over Zoom or with the family that they're with. They want crafts, they want things to keep themselves busy, things to keep themselves off screens or their kids off screens, or just things to do to alleviate the tedium, dare I say it, of being home a lot, of there not being an awful lot going on. Most people are going to be having very quiet Christmases. Even if lockdown's lifted, a lot of people are not going to want to travel. They're going to want to stay close to home. And so think about those themes. They are still there. They're still really tying into the Christmas purchasing. People want to buy things that will make themselves and their loved ones feel good, feel entertained, and feel like their home is their sanctuary. So what else to say about Christmas 2020? Well, really it's expect the unexpected. So as I said, this is a really difficult year to call. Normally, when Christmases are planned out by businesses, especially big retailers, they have got years of data to look back on, and the plans are put together really carefully, taking into account details as small as the day of the week that Christmas falls on, and then estimates about the patterns that will mean for the business. So where will the peak come? Where will people be buying? And where will they see that final last minute rush? This year, selling has been really disrupted. There was, as I said earlier, that mini peak just before lockdown, but then there has been somewhat of a lull in November, and we are in this sort of weird holding pattern where people just don't really know what's happening. They don't know if we're coming out of lockdown on the 2nd. So it's hard to say. Will we see a very quiet December because people have already spent their money? My feeling is no. I think we will see a bit of a boom when we come out of lockdown as people finalise their Christmas plans, whether they need gifts sent to loved ones or if they're going to buy them to take them themselves, and then make those decisions and make those purchases. We are still a bit early as well. It's a very odd year in terms of if you're going to have a gift sent directly to somebody, it's still a bit too soon. If somebody sent you a gift and it turned up in mid-November, it's just that bit too early to start sending people distant Christmas gifts. So it's a really interesting one. I think we will see a big boom maybe around the middle of the month when people realise that if they want their gifts to get there on time, they're going to have to press the button sooner rather than later. So 39% of people in the Capgemini research, 39% of retailers rather, said that they felt confident in forecasting their Christmas sales. But normally that number is much higher. It's a big decrease on previous years. And it just speaks to the fact that most retailers are just like you. They don't really know what's going to happen. We're all waiting to see what the customer does once we get closer to the big day. We already know as well that there have been delays in Royal Mail and some of the other courier companies. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get this last minute panic of people trying to get express delivery options in order to get their gifts there to their loved ones at the last minute. There are always last minute Christmas shoppers. This year, however, they're going to be hampered in their ability to get their gifts to their loved ones on time. So I think we may well see a big surge in things like gift cards or electronic gifts that people can just send right at the last minute. So those are my 5 key points then about Christmas spending in 2020 and what we've seen so far. More people will be shopping online. They'll be visiting stores, but after they've done their research. Overall, people are looking to spend less because of having lower disposable income, although younger generations are less likely to be feeling that way. However, point number 3, people are looking to shop small, with there being an estimated £3.7 billion spent with small businesses this year. Point number 4, the key drivers of protect, connect and distract are still really relevant at Christmas, and it looks like particularly things like distract, where people are looking for crafting and other activities to while away the long days at home during the winter, are all going to be really important. And then the final point, we don't really know what December's going to look like. It could well be a last minute rush. It could be underwhelming. We just simply don't know. We are going to have to wait and see. I know I've said this before, but economic uncertainty or uncertainty of any kind is very difficult for sales in general, not just Christmas sales, but the combination of lockdown and Brexit could mean that this is a disappointing December, although hopefully with more people than ever wanting to shop small, it will not be so disappointing for many of you listening to the podcast. Okay, so then just to wrap it up then, what can you do in your business then at Christmas 2020 that will help you in these last few weeks? So we don't have long left at all. Firstly, people have an appetite to buy small. The research is really clear on that. Anecdotally, it's really clear that there's lots of support for small businesses. And you can see it on social media. There are so many campaigns supporting small businesses. So people want to buy small. So shout about it. Don't pretend to be bigger than you are. If it's just you, don't pretend that you've got a full team behind you. It used to be considered unprofessional to show that it was you, the founder, who was running everything. But now people want to be part of that. They want to cheer on small businesses. So if you can show some behind the scenes, especially again on social media, then that is all going to play into people's desire right now to shop small. Think about the key drivers. Do you have products in your range that fit into protect, connect or distract? How can you talk about them? Particularly distance gifting. I've said it before, I'll say it again. How can you make it really clear to your customer that you have got options for them to send to people who are not with them? Are you offering gifting options? Are you being really clear on your homepage on a banner, talking about gift wrapping, writing a card, and other ways that you can let them know that you can create the perfect gift for someone who they're not with. Keep showing up. It is all still to play for. I know that I said that we don't really know what's happening, but it's just as likely that there's a big rush in December as it is that December's a little bit underwhelming. So don't feel like everything's already happened, and if we're at Black Friday, then there's nothing left to play for. I think there's plenty left to play for. I think there will be plenty of people who've left it very late. And I think that is something that you can really play into and keep showing up, keep being there, keep talking about the options that you have, keep talking about how you can make this a great Christmas for people's loved ones. And the other thing, the final point, is going back to these drivers, thinking about the home, thinking about this messaging about how do people feather the nest, as I call it, make their homes cozy, bright, festive. If you've got any products at all that fit into that category, don't forget to use that in your messaging. Sometimes the easiest way to think about what your customer's going through is to think about what you're going through. What do you have in your mind right now? Keep thinking about what's driving your purchasing and keep putting yourself out there. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I do always love to see where you're watching on Instagram, so why not go over and tag me if you're listening in? It's always wonderful to hear your comments and hear how much you're enjoying the episodes. And why not send me a DM as well and just tell me what your key takeaways are and if you're going to do anything different for those last final weeks of Christmas. And if you've enjoyed this episode, then why not jump on my email list? I send out an email every Monday morning and it's packed full of tips and information about you and your business, what you should be focusing on each week, as well as industry news, all my latest content and offers as well. All you need to do in order to join my email list is to go to www.resilientretailclub.com/free stuff. If you scroll down at the bottom, there's an option for you to pop your email in and you'll be added to my list, as well as get access to all 3 of my toolkits, which are my free bundles of resources to help you at any stage of your business. If you've enjoyed this episode, thank you so much to everyone who has rated and reviewed it on iTunes. It helps me so much. Do subscribe as well to hear more about the new episodes, to be the first to know about the new episodes as they are released. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, then I invite you to check out resilientretailclub.com. The Resilient Retail Club is the membership for anyone wanting to start, grow or scale a profitable product business. No more trawling Google trying to find the answers to your questions or wading through general business advice that speaks mainly to service-based businesses. Whether you're still at the idea stage or you've been going for a while but want to get more focused and organised when it comes to your business, the Resilient Retail Club is the place for you. With a library of courses tailored to creative product businesses, several live sessions a month, and a supportive and active community, the Resilient Retail Club is the perfect membership to help you hit your goals faster. Check it out at resilientretailclub.com.